As we pass the midway point of camp, how has your group been so far?
Good. It's been a steady climb. Working on improving. It's not linear. There's ebbs and flows to it, but after 9 practices right now, we're moving in the right direction. We're not where we need to be yet. I don't think anybody would say they would be at this time of the fall camp, but I like our room and I like what we're trying to do.
We know Amir did a lot of snapping, I think, what was it, 2 years ago? We see him doing some more of that now. What's the process like of having him kind of work in a little bit at center, and what are you kind of trying to test out there?
We talked about in the spring the depth we have, and it's always nice when you have people have the ability to play multiple positions. With Amir, his ability to have flexibility to play guard and center for us is a big deal in case things, knock on wood, may happen. The transition's been great, and the more flexibility, we've talked about this before, the more flexibility we can have in the offensive line room, whether you can play guard or tackle, guard and center, flip tackle to tackle, the better we'll be as a unit. So using fall camp as that springboard to help elevate people at different positions is fantastic.
And Coach Agpalsa mentioned a lot of the guys at guard. You've got Connor, Tavake, guys coming along, DeAndre. What sort of competition have you seen there? And I guess what are you kind of looking for in establishing kind of that top group you want to use?
I think the fun part is competition is king, and it's going to bring out the best in all of them. And with the people you spoke about, there's so many of them right now that are vying to get on the bus. They're vying to become starters. They're vying to, in their mind, what they want to be this season and the role they want to be in this season. And the fun part for me as a coach is you allow them to go and to compete with one another. I've said this before, I think we got a really tight room. They really enjoy being around each other, and I really enjoy being around this group. But it doesn't get in the way with their progress towards what they want and their goals. But with the moving around and shuffling at guard, it's helping bring the best out of everyone. And that's the fun part as we get through 9 practices so far this fall.
Lance has talked pretty highly about DeAndre Harper. What have you seen from him so far?
A lot of great flashes from that young man. He's a young player. Obviously he was a transfer in a couple of seasons ago. He's really worked to change his body. Truth be told, I actually recruited him out of high school at my previous school, so I kind of knew a little bit about him. And he's been a pleasure, and he's been a blessing, and he's worked really, really hard to take the steps that he needed to show, because he is a talented young man. But in the last 9 practices, he's continued to elevate even from the spring, and that's great because it just creates more competition within the room.
Sounds like a lot of versatility with him.
Yeah, when we started fall camp, he was playing tackle. And our goal right now, and Coach Leipold will say this all the time, is we're always looking to put not necessarily the backup in, it's the next best lineman in, and I'm pretty transparent with that in our room. If one of the 5 go down, we're trying to find how does number 6 get on the field. And with him, he's moving in that direction. So the more flexibility, like we talked about with the other guys, the more flexibility he has to play both guard and tackle, the better we'll be.
What do you think that next step will be for him then to solidify that kind of role?
I think at the end of the day, it just comes down in our room. It's a matter of consistency. Playing at a high level all the time, it's not easy. At the end of the day, he's still a young player. So when you talk about fundamentals, you talk about assignment sharp, there's always things we can clean up with him, and he'll continue to improve in that facet. But he has a lot of great natural tools.
I think it was Coach Kotomicki said that the offensive line is meshing probably quicker than any of the other position groups. Is that more player-led or coach-led? And then also just how do you kind of go about meshing those guys together?
I think it's really important to know that we spend so much time within these walls, and at the forefront of everything is football. The way you can really mesh and gel a group is spending time outside these walls together, and more importantly, talking about things that aren't just football. That's where you develop real genuine relationships between player and coaches. And I think our players have done a fantastic job. Like Calvin will be in here, I think, today. And we've talked about Calvin for the last couple of years, and he's just done an outstanding job leading this group, bringing people together. And I love walking into that room every day because they genuinely enjoy being around each other, and that's special. And we got to make sure we harness that at the end of the day, because there's a lot of pride now that gets built up with it. But we got to make sure we got to continue to push each other within competition. But our players have been doing a great job with meshing and gelling that group, and we're doing a better job of just being more than just football.
I know you said a lot of it has to do with just trying to get the best 5 out there, but how do you determine if a tackle could be a candidate to play guard or vice versa?
I think it's a great question. You know, everybody typically says, well, you can always move them in from tackle to guard, and I don't necessarily think that's always true because there's such a physical nature inside. When you're assessing that, I believe when you're looking at a tackle and you want to move him inside, does he have the ability to be physical and play against bigger down linemen? Can he bend? Does he love contact and want to be a vicious person in the run game? I think those are just a couple of cues you want to make sure you look at the end of the day, because if they're not physical and they can't play within that phone booth at times, I think it'd be a real difficult transition.
And then in the spring, we talked about Nick playing right tackle, and you kind of said it's a valuable thing for the guys because at the next level, you have to be able to play on both sides. Just wondering maybe how that transition's gone for him and how's his camp been overall?
I think he's doing a great job overall. We're still working and tinkering on things. Nick's nowhere near where the exciting part for me as a coach is Nick is nowhere near where I believe and we believe he can be. But boy, has he taken steps and strides in strength and size and physicality. He loves to get coached. He's taken a step already from the spring, and I think there's about 2 or 3 more steps he can take and really, really take this thing and move it in the right direction.
With Coach K back, what's it been like for you scheme-wise? You know, he likes to do all different stuff and move guys around. How's that been going with maybe you and the guys on the field too?
I think it's been really good. He and I have spent a lot of time together. We know each other very well. We know our strengths. We know our weaknesses. A lot of this offense, we've poured into it together. It's been fun to break away a little bit and now come back together and kind of see where the offense has evolved. But it's fun, you know, as an offensive line coach, having an offensive coordinator, how you know how he thinks, you know what's important, being on the same page. I think that's always huge to be an offensive line coach. And I know as a coordinator, his offensive line coach is probably the most important person to him at the end of the day. So the continuity, I believe, is there, and it's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun to have him back.
And then in the past, he's done some unique stuff with offensive linemen. Has he approached you about that, or have any players maybe approached you about, hey, I want to try this or do something like that, or anything like he's done in the past?
Yeah, every offensive lineman can catch, and they always got the best hands on the team. So, you know, we always have that, right? My thing is, well, why don't you show me you can block consistently, and then we'll talk about maybe if we can get you a pass at the end of the day. And so, but, you know, I say all those nice things about Kay, but he did butter me up. He gave me a bunch of cookies before I came in here. So, you know, he knows the ways of my heart.
Connor Stro came into the program over the winter. What sort of steps have you seen him take forward, and what maybe is the next thing for him to be able to establish himself as a starter?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, assessing Connor over the last 9 practices, he has moved in the right direction. He is progressing, working and improving, get better. Overall consistency and really trusting and big picture owning the offense and knowing the schemes. We talk about his eyes a lot, making sure his eyes are in the right place versus movements, trusting our techniques, and he's been hella coachable, to be honest with you guys now. He's been awesome in that respect, and there is a track where he is moving in the right direction. I'm excited where he's going.
Anything else for Coach Agpalsa? All right.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you.